All right, so good afternoon, everyone, and welcome. This is Twist Gaming, where you get to play board games with us. We're coming to you live here from the GAMA Expo in Reno, Nevada, bringing you all the cool board game coverage from throughout the con with all the special guests. Let's get some introductions out of the way first, though. I mean, you know who I am. As usual, I'm Matt, and I'm joined with the ever-awesome Gil from Formal Ferret Games.
Hi everyone. Hi, Matt.
So, Gil, we've had you on a handful of times on the stream before. Going back to Dice Tower Con last year, did an interview at Gen Con. We might have had you on at Origins. I can't get a straight answer out of Josh about that one. Origins was a little fuzzy.
At Origins. I had a good chat with Anne and Nicole.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. I remember that. That was awesome.
So you got some new stuff coming out the pipeline, as well as some other stuff that we've touched on briefly in some of the interviews that we've done. So let's jump into the meat and potatoes of this. We've got the networks here, and we've got some expansions that you've released.
Yes.
Let's talk about some of these expansions that we have. And,
well, they're not out yet. These are going to be available most likely around August. So we're going to start with Executives over here. That's this box over here, and Executives is going to come with a bunch of really interesting stuff. So I'm pulling the really interesting stuff out right now. So what's going to happen with Executives, as I pull my components out, is you're going to start the game by getting 2 of these Executives. So Matt, why don't you choose one of these cards? That's the back. That's the back over there. So
okay.
Look at the front, and choose which card you want to start with.
Let's go with the Butcher here.
Okay, excellent. All right. So as the Butcher, you're going to have a special power, and your power, if you want to move this over here, you're going to get this card over here.
So I'm going to get this card.
Yep, and you can put this on the top.
The top.
Rotate it the other way. There you go.
There we go.
And now you've got your player board. If you recognize that as the player board for the base game. Yep. So Butcher has a special power. If you want to focus on the, like, maybe want to bring it over to the middle camera over here.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, excellent. So Butcher has a special power, as you can see from the bottom. You now are scoring 3 extra viewers for each of your reruns. Should I mention the base game for people who aren't familiar with the base game?
Let's do that. If there's anyone that hasn't seen the networks, let's talk a little bit about what the base game entails.
Okay,
here.
So the base game, you're a TV network executive. You start the game with 3 horrible shows and a little bit of cash, and you're trying to get the most viewers over 5 seasons. It's pretty much a drafting game. There are shows, stars, and ads that are face-up available for anyone to draft, and on your turn, you draft 1 card. The tricky thing is that shows are going to require stars or ads, and stars and ads, stars will cost money, and ads don't give you viewers, and viewers are victory points. They're what you need to win. So while ads are free, and in fact ads give you money, ads generally don't actually give you viewers. So
right. So it's a balance between trying to manage your viewers and trying to get some pocket cash to spend on your stars.
Exactly,
and stuff like that.
exactly, and that's the tricky thing with the game. And it's been a very successful game so far. In the expansion, I'm aiming to add some replayability to it.
Absolutely.
So every time you cancel, not that the base game doesn't have replayability, but adding even more replayability to it. So the base game, when you cancel a show, you put it off to this side and you put a new show on to replace it. Butcher, you get extra viewers for each of your reruns. Normally your reruns are worth between 1 and 5 viewers, but now Butcher's scoring extra viewers for each of their reruns. So Butcher tends to jump off to a very large lead at the start of the game. The question is, can they hold it? Because they have a downside. Our friend the Butcher will actually lose viewers the older their shows are. Because if you may recall with the networks, this show, for example, would score 6 viewers if it's on its proper time slot, plus whatever it would get from its star. And then it would age, and the next season you'd get 7 viewers. Next season you get 8 viewers, and then the show crashes. And you represent this by cubes. You know, you have a cube over here, and you just push it down at the end of each season after you've scored it.
Absolutely.
Well, with Butcher, it's a little different. First season, it would score 6 viewers, assuming it's the right time slot. Next season is -2, so it would only score 5 viewers. The following season is -4.
So you get 4
only
viewers.
4, and the last season is -6. You would lose 5 viewers if you kept the show all the way into its last season.
Oh, it actually goes into the negative there.
Yeah,
so,
so Butcher wants to cancel shows constantly. Now, one thing that helps Butcher is they can spend extra money. They can spend $2 million when they're developing a show to ignore these prerequisites. Like this show, you must have a star in your green room in order to put it on the show. Well, Butcher can spend $2 million and say, I don't need the star, a star for this because I just need tempo. I need to put as many shows as I can.
So the Butcher's trying to slash the budget.
Exactly. So, so with executives, this is sort of the idea behind executives: is every executive does something completely different. So here's a different executive you could have, and incidentally, these are going to be they're like just cardboard now. Because they're prototype components, but the final are going to be nice punch board with a jigsaw cut. So over here, this is Flix, and Flix is a streaming network. Because you remember before we were mentioning that this show got a bonus if it was on at 9 p.m. Well, over here, Flix doesn't care. You can put the show on at 8. You can put the show on at 10. You're streaming, so all your shows are always considered to be in their proper time slot.
That's
Flix.
pretty convenient
it's
right there.
It's a pretty nice power. The downside with Flix, if Flix ever decides to change genre, like let's say Flix decides to replace this drama over here with an action show, well, you've just changed genre in a time slot, and you lose 2 viewers for that.
Ooh.
So that's the downside of Flix, that you kind of want to stay on the same track. Like once you've got, like for example, sports shows, you want that to remain sports shows.
So Flix wants continuity for their
yes,
programming.
But their fans want continuity.
Yeah.
Their fans freak out if there's no continuity. So that's Flix. So we got Butcher, we got Flix. We actually have 12 executives in the box, which completely changes the game, because every time you play, you're going to have most likely a different executive. So that's one of the main ideas behind executives. There's a couple of other cool things in executives. You have these mogul cards that you're working towards, and mogul cards are like supercharged network cards that give you all sorts of special advantages. Like, for example, this viral marketing card will give you extra viewers during scoring each season, 1 for every $1 million of income you're getting from your ads. So you remember I said ads don't give you viewers. If you have viral marketing, well, now they do. Network Master. If you have a bunch of network cards, you can cash Network Master in and get a ton of viewers. 24 max over here. And tax write-off, if you're having one time slot that's just killing you in terms of money, you can use this mogul card, and now you totally ignore expenses in one time slot, because this covers it, and you get 10 viewers at the end of the season. So these mogul cards are extremely powerful. The downside is you may only ever have one, and when you use it, you flip it over, and now that shows that you're used, and you can't get another one. Of course, there's an executive that can have multiple mogul cards, because that's how this game works. There's all sorts of expansions and extra stuff. The last thing I want to show is the pilot season in executives. With pilot season,
you show that off over here.
Okay, excellent. Yeah. So with pilot season, you're going to have these. Let's get a couple of these.
Yeah.
So those are. So these are shows you draft at the start of the game. So you're going to get a hand of 4, and you're going to choose one, and that's going to be your 8 p.m. show. That's also going to determine what resources you start with. Like, for example, that bottom one, Flossing Habits of Your Local Council Person, they don't get any better than the starting shows of the base game. That one gives you a star and an ad in your green room at the start of the game. The one at the top, Superheroes of Expense Reports, gets you $2 million extra at the start of the game. You can also, there are some, let me find this. I thought I had this over here. There's some shows, there we go. There are some pilot season shows that look like that actually have genres, and I modeled them after like 80s and 90s shows. So you can have Air Wombat.
Golden Grills.
Or Golden Grills. And these shows do not give you do not give you stars, ads, or money. In fact, they cost you money, but they do give you viewers, and it's an extra genre that you can start with. So what genres do you start the game with? It's completely up to you. And that's another cool thing about this. So by the time Season 1 starts, everybody has a totally different network at the start of the game.
Very cool.
The idea is you get 4 of these cards. You choose, everybody simultaneously chooses one and reveals it at the same time. And that's your 8 p.m. show. And if it gives you stuff, you collect it. Then you pass those cards to your left, get 3 cards from the player to your right. Now you choose your 9 p.m. show. And then you do the same thing for your 10 p.m. show. And now everyone's ready to go. So that's the pilot season with executives.
Very cool.
Yeah, it's really added a lot to the game because everybody has a totally different starting setup based on how they've drafted.
So do you have one executive that you really love to play as when you're playing this game?
Or
do you just like to toss it up all the time?
I like
try
to go back and
things?
forth. Some executives were harder to put together than others, so but I have a soft spot for this one. This is Telethon. Telethon's a little complicated, but
He looks frazzled, by the way.
but they're totally worth it. So Telethon, you are not allowed to have ads in your green room, which is a downside because you're a public television network. However, one thing you can do is you can hold a telethon. And once per season, you can ask all the other players for money. If anybody gives you $2 million, they get a sponsorship token from the bank. And that's a sponsorship token right there. Sponsorship token gives you some powers. If you flip it over, you'll see what the powers are. So you can completely ignore expenses from income and expenses from one of your time slots. You can ignore one of the prerequisites when you're developing a show, like this show says it requires an ad. No, it doesn't. I'm going to spend my sponsorship token. Or you can rotate a star or an ad from their bad side to their good side.
Oh, okay.
And if you have 3 sponsorship tokens, you can spend all 3 to take 2 actions.
Oh, very nice.
So sponsorship tokens are really powerful. So let's say you're Telethon, and you say, hey, can you give me $2 million and I get a sponsorship token? Maybe I'm short on money, or maybe I just don't like you. I'll say, no, I don't want to give you $2 million.
Okay.
Take me off your mailing list. What happens then is you would get the sponsorship token. And as Telethon, you need those sponsorship tokens because you can't have ads in your green room, and the sponsorship tokens really help you.
Allow you to ignore the prerequisite of the ads.
Exactly. So that's how you can get a show that requires ads. Otherwise, that's how you can afford to pay for those expensive sports shows because the sponsorship tokens, you just use that and you've paid for that expensive time slot.
Perfect.
So that executive I love because it brings all sorts of role play in it, and because it changes the game for everyone. Mm-hmm. You know, not just Telethon, but everybody has a new way to play. So that is executives in a nutshell. I've worked on it a long time, and I'm really happy that it's finally done.
Very cool. Now, I see you've got another expansion here sitting in front of us.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about Telly Time.
Okay, so Telly Time will be coming out at UK Games Expo in June. And as you can see, this is made up entirely of shows that will appeal to people who like British television.
Very nice.
So let's go through some of these shows here.
So this is going to be the programming from across the pond.
Exactly. So, you know, we have shows like Perilvole. We have shows like Somewhat Marginal. We have shows like Drake's 8, Negative Newt. And there's some that I'm really, really proud of in here. Oh, and of course, the Ancient Ones. So this expansion, you know, has a bunch of these new shows. It's all new shows, so it's a new deck of shows. It is compatible with with executives as well as the base game. And there's also something interesting here. You'll notice that Perilvole looks a little different. Well, this is a new kind of show. This is a kids show. Okay, so we've got kids shows, we have chat shows, and we have game shows. Okay, so these are 3 new genres of shows. In fact, if you want to put that in your little close-up,
absolutely. Let's see what we got here.
Yeah.
So we got this is, you said, the game show, right?
Yes. Oh, by the way, the graphic design of these cards that I have is not final. We do have finalized graphic design, which I got like the night before I left. So I wasn't able to put those together.
That's the way it goes,
yes.
right?
Yep. So that's the game show, and game shows have a special power in that at the end of a season, for every game show you have, you can spend money to get extra viewers. $1 million for one viewer, up to 3.
Because you're giving away fabulous cash prizes.
Exactly. Yep. And then let's take a look at the chat show. That's the chat show. And with the chat show, you have a special power. You can rotate all stars and ads on one time slot to their good side, regardless of their condition. And that includes any stars or ads on the chat show.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it's pretty useful. And there's no explicit differences with a kids show, except they all want to be on at 8 p.m. and they all have a real hard time if you don't have them on at 8 p.m. And they all also are a great opportunity to advertise. They take ads like crazy.
But they all kind of fight against each other because they want to be in that same time.
Exactly. Yeah. So that is so those are the shows. Now the interesting thing with Telly Time is because there are these 3 extra genres, the way genre bonuses work is a little different because it's really hard to get 3 shows of the same genre now. So now we have these genre counters.
Okay.
Okay. So there's a genre counter. And the way the genre counter works here is every time you get a show, you're going to cover its appropriate icon with a chip. So let's say you get a sci-fi show, so you'll cover that middle space.
There we go.
Yep. Okay. And then let's say later on you get a sitcom. Okay. The sitcom is the laughing dude in the upper right.
Okay. Whoop.
The one that's messing with the green screen now. Okay.
So we'll just cover them.
Yeah, so we'll just cover that one up. So if you were to get a reality show, the one on the bottom left, that's 3 in a row, and you get a genre bonus that way.
Oh, so like a tic-tac-toe style.
Exactly. If you had any other chips, they stay on. Only the 3 you had that gave you tic-tac-toe get removed. So you can set up some interesting combos. Like if you have like for example, the one on drama, one on kids. So the upper left, yep, like that one and that one. And then you get one on action and chat. That's the bottom right and bottom middle. So now you have 2 chances. The next 2 reality shows you get will get you 2 genre bonuses.
Okay, so the first one would say, give me the genre bonus from this one here.
Yep.
We remove all the tokens, and then the next one would provide me the genre bonus from that.
Exactly. Now, every time you get a genre bonus, there's a little counter at the bottom. I've been testing with cubes, not chips. I only got these chips recently. So you'd move those cubes. You'd have 1 cube at the bottom, and you sort of increment it every time you get a genre bonus. When you reach all the way at the end, you get a 5-show genre bonus instead of a 3-show genre bonus. And if you're playing with executives, that's when you'd get the mogul card.
Ah, okay.
Oh, I forgot to mention with the mogul cards in executives, you get them on your first 5-show genre bonus or your second 3-show genre bonus. If you play with Telly Time, you get them in this case instead. So it changes the way you play. Oh, there's one more thing I wanted to show with the genre counter. If you flip it over, you see, it changes. So there's 5 of these cards in the game, and they're double-sided. So you know you have a different board every time you play.
Oh, that's really cool. So you're not fighting for the same genre bonus each time you're playing.
Correct.
Forces you to think a little outside the box.
Yeah. You know, and of course the shows that you're going to have are going to be different that are going to be out there. But it would be boring if you always had the same one. So
absolutely,
so this makes it interesting.
Very cool.
Cool. How are we doing on time?
I think we got about like 5 to 10 more minutes left if you wanted to talk about your 3rd expansion.
Well, this is an older expansion, but it's coming back in print, and there's a lot of people excited about it, and that is On the Air, if you want to show off the cover there.
On the Air.
Yeah, so On the Air is an expansion that is the stretch goals from the original Kickstarter campaign, the very first one, and it comes with all sorts of really cool things. So one thing that it comes with is these shows. So if you want to bring out some of these shows, so that show over there is a season 4 to 5 show, but it's got a special power. It lets you rearrange stars, your other shows, and I think stars and ads, so you can sort of move things around. Here, let me pass you another one.
Yeah.
There's this one over here.
And this one's going to show up a little funny because it's green, but Oh boy.
Oh,
So
that shows up really funny.
that is the water bug.
Yes, that's Water Bug, and that one it never drops to rerun. It never drops to archives, so it's always going to keep scoring its rerun bonus. And if you cancel it in its first season, any stars or ads on it will go back to its back to your green room. In other words, you want to cancel it in its first season. I want people to feel terrible about themselves. Is really what it comes down to. You know, there's this card's a weird one, but it's one of my favorites. Eternal Zest. This one gives you 15 viewers in its first season.
Oh wow.
And nothing afterwards, and you lose 3 viewers if you cancel it. But you get a 5-show genre bonus just for putting it on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it's all up front, and then it's no return after that.
Exactly. So, and that's one that I'm kind of partial to, that card. The game also, the expansion also comes with some crazy stars, and these stars all have all sorts of really weird powers.
Got the industry veteran here.
Yep, that guy, the show he's on, you can rotate to put the show on for free. So you get less viewers from him, but you don't have to pay for the show.
And then we've got the product placement master.
Yep, so the product placement master, if you put a promo on that show, you don't have to pay for the promo. The Bollywood star.
The Bollywood star.
I believe she gives you network. Oh, rotate unless you have network cards in front of you. I believe 2 network cards.
That's what it says,
Yep.
yeah. We've got the versatile actor. He
Yep.
can do anything.
Yep. I believe he can change the. They can change the genre of the show they're on.
Yeah, so you change it if you pay $3 million while developing the show.
Yes,
You've
yes.
got the gray fox here.
So the first time you put him on his gray side, but when you cancel that show, instead of discarding him, he goes back to your green room. The second time you put him on, he goes on his good side.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
The cross-promoting star.
That one, it's been a while since I've played with that one.
Do not pay for promos you attach to the show.
Ah, that's the one I mixed up with the one with the other one. So there was another star earlier. I thought that was his power.
The product placement masters draw 1 ad when you sign the star.
Ah, yes, that's right. Man, I should play with this expansion more often. It's been a long time since I
And then
played.
finally, we got the
I love
rerun
that
guy.
one. I love that one. When he cancels the show that he's on, he counts as a 5-show rerun.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so he's pretty crazy. So the expansion comes with a few extra network cards. One of the network cards is the stupidest network card in the game, but I like it.
Stupid how?
So let me show you the non-stupid ones first. There's one that forces the other players to pay money. That's an interactive one.
Okay, that's the lawsuit. Makes sense.
This one, you can move shows and stars to different shows.
The network shake-up.
Yep, shuffle things up. And that one, you can rescore one of your shows.
Reboot.
Yep. And here's the stupid one. This is the sound editor.
Sound, okay.
If you're the sound editor, you can possibly get a bunch of money by handling all the cards for everyone. Like if somebody says, I want a show, you pass it to them. You know, you're the one who handles the cards. You get $1 million placed on the card every time it happens. If you reach a certain amount of money by the end of the season, you get to collect that money. Otherwise, you lose the money and you have to lose a viewer as well because everybody's angry at you because it's obviously your fault because it's always the sound editor's fault. Did I mention I was a sound editor for 5 years? So that's that.
So you can tell when, you know, that
Yeah,
I
yeah,
got
so-
you.
Matt gave a glance at me as you talked about it. I'm not a sound editor, but I do all of that.
Yeah. So there's a running joke on our stream that whenever anything technical goes wrong, that it's Josh's fault. And that's rule 3 on the stream is it's always Josh's fault.
Yep.
So that's funny. That definitely hits right there at home with that one.
Yeah, my sound editor colleague of mine compared the job to mopping up after the elephants in a parade. So, so there's a couple other things that this comes with. You're going to get a couple of ads, and these ads, I was surprised by my artist. My artist said, "Hey, what do you think of this as ads?" And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I wasn't expecting that." But yeah, they're my other games. So
That's awesome.
I put in ads for my other games, and they rotate to their good sides if you have the other one. And then these are stickers. This is a so these stickers will go on the wood bits, like the wood bits to the game. Normally are squares and discs, but you can stick those on your wood bits, and they look nice and fancy.
Well, these are there, I promise. They're invisible
Oh, of
right
course,
now.
I handed you the green ones because I wasn't thinking.
It's
I
fine.
handed you the first ones there. So that's on the air. So all 3 of these expansions are going to be out and available probably around, looking at August is the retail of these. They may be available at conventions earlier.
Fantastic. So, Gil, is there anything else that you wanted to talk about today in terms of the networks and any of the expansions that you have out, or anything else you got in your back pocket?
Well, there is one thing that I totally forgot to mention before when you had asked me about this question. That is, and I totally forgot to bring it down from my hotel room, but Bad Medicine is my party game. It's on Kickstarter right now.
Go check it out.
Yeah, and check it out. It's my party game. If you like the humor from this game, that's all what Bad Medicine is. We do have the Bad Medicine card over here.
We do. So
Yep.
that's a little product placement right there.
Yep, that's it. That's Bad. Put it right over my face.
Yeah.
That's it. I'm now Bad Medicine Head. There we go. Perfect. I love it. So Bad Medicine is a party game where you're all pharmaceutical companies pitching horrible drugs. Every card is a little bit of a drug name, a little bit of a description, and a side effect. And you have to choose of your cards what to use for what. So you're going to have 3 cards you're going to use just for the name of your drug. 2 cards just use the keywords to describe how your drug works. And 1 card will tell you what the horrible thing that your drug does. And you have to explain why it's not such a big deal. It's really, really funny.
That's all kinds of awesome.
I'm so proud of that Kickstarter video.
Oh, I
And
have
with
to check it out for sure.
The
now.
most epic B-roll I've ever shot. I'm not going to top that B-roll.
So how long is this on Kickstarter for, Bad Medicine?
Until the end of the month. I think the last Thursday of the month is when it winds down. But we're very close to funding, so I feel really good about it because it's finally going to be available. It was available for like 3 months in 2016, and then it was gone. So I'm so glad to finally be able to get it back to people. I'm very, very excited.
Very cool. And that definitely sounds like a game that's right up my alley, so I'm going to have to try it out when I can. So big shout out. So everyone at home, definitely go check out Bad Medicine live now on Kickstarter. Gil, thank you so much for joining us.
There we go.
Bam. Thank you so much. We really appreciate you coming on.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks for watching.
Thank you all for watching. Stay tuned for more live coverage throughout the day from here at GAMA in Reno, Nevada. As usual, I'm Matt. See you later.